Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Hi, Foffit. You've reached Mel from Bella, the podcast that feels like a voice note from your best friend. Welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. My name is Bella, and if you are a new listener, welcome to the inner group chat. I'm so excited that you're here. And if you're a returning listener, I'm so glad you've come back because we have so much to catch up on. Guys, I'm currently sat and it's 18 degrees. 18 degrees outside, and this is dedication because I am recording the podcast, but it's just beautiful weather, and it's making me want to be outside all of the time, and it's just making me want to... This is making me realise we've got through winter. We've finally got through winter. We've got through the long nights. We've got through it just being miserable weather all the time, the really dark days. And it's like this morning I woke up at 6, did go back to sleep for an hour because the 6 a.m. wake up was just not happening. But I woke up at 6, right? And it was sunshine, okay? Granted, not the most sunshine, but it was like daylight and not awful weather. And I just thought, like I can do this when it's nice weather. I can do this. This is very, very good. And so that's been a great other start to the week. Other than that, this week, I went out for drinks on Tuesday, which was very nice. My plan of meeting more people and making more plans is going successfully. I've been proactive in messaging people, you'll be glad to know. And I've started like when I get in from the gym or if I do something on an evening, before I like scroll on my phone or watch TV, or I'll just go through my WhatsApp and actually reply to people's messages. Life-changing. Absolutely life-changing. Rather than thinking about replying to them all day, thinking I'm not going to think about this until I actually do it at the end of the day, makes it so much less stressful, because I don't know why I find replying to people's messages a stressful thing, but for some reason I do. For some reason I just cannot be bothered, because it's like, I just feel like I have too much on my plate. When realistically, those things on my plate, it's like this never-ending task list. And it includes such random things like clean the flat, tidy the flat, should probably look at council tax, pay rent, money, ISA, how am I going to buy a house, where am I going to go on holiday this year, when am I going to edit the podcast, what content am I going to record this week, work, like everything on that list. It's an all-encompassing list of tasks that I have to complete in my life. Like, should I donate blood? The randomest things that I constantly think I need to consider. And leaving people's messages to a time slot where I'm like, this is actually where I'm going to do it. I've never replied to so many people. I've never been so good at sending voice notes to people. Also, sending voice notes to people is way nicer, way more fun. And so, all in all, I'm very impressed with myself. I'm just checking with one. All in all, I'm very impressed with myself, and I'm very grateful there seems to be a new growth thing, and I'm very glad the sun is out. Did my first long run on Sunday for the half marathon. It was really hard, and I had to stop twice. And I've realised I need to stop stopping my watch when I stop, because it's not giving me an accurate running time. It's a fake running time, and it doesn't, like, it's my moving time, so it is accurate in a sense, but it's not for what I need to be doing it for. And this morning I did a 5k, and I can't lie, it was just really hard. My legs were really tired, and I think I might have pushed myself a little bit too far, because apparently when you're training for a half marathon, Because apparently, when you're training for a half marathon, not every single run is meant to be really hard. I thought you were just meant to run as fast as you could, try as hard as you can, every single run, and you'll get fitter. No. Incorrect. The slow and the easy runs build up your aerobic muscles and your aerobic ability to exercise, and that is what you need to sustain a half marathon, because it's such a long period of time to exercise for. And so I'm thinking of this, I'm considering this. Tomorrow I have to do a 7k run. Let's just sit with that for a moment. And I can't be bothered, but it is getting me out of the house, and I do think it is good for my headspace, to be honest. And this is proving my point of I would not be doing any of this running if I didn't have a half marathon to do. And so I feel glad that I've pushed myself and signed myself up for it, because I do need a bit of pressure to exercise. And not that you should exercise or feel forced to do it, but I know running for me is a great thing for my headspace. I'm not going to do it unless I have something to do it for. I just don't, and I know that about myself. And so having this half marathon has given me that direction again, and I've been really enjoying it. I've been actually enjoying working out and running and having a bit of a purpose to what I do. It's made me making it metric focused, I want to get this specific time, has really focused the exercise for me, not on making my body look a certain way, or me. It's been how can I feel the strongest that I've ever felt and run the fastest I've ever run, and how can I really fuel myself? And it's made it feel a lot more, I know, just a healthy way to exercise, a positive way to exercise. And I think that has been a really good thing for me, because, it's a dangerous world out there, the diet culture world, and we don't want to be a part of it. We do not want to be a part of it, and a key thing for not being part of it. But then it's like, it sometimes doesn't feel like you can work out, like, just the conversation around it. It's so complicated and just so tricky to work out. Why am I working out? Is it because I want to look a certain way or feel a certain way? Like, how can we make this positive? And so having an actual time goal, like an actual fitness goal specifically, like I want to lift this amount, or I want to run this fast or run this far, or I can't really think of any other ones, but you get the gist. That's been a positive way for me to want to incorporate more fitness into my life in a non-toxic way. I know then people are like, you get addicted to over-exercising and blah, 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 but that's not me. I definitely am not addicted to over-exercising, because every single run I'm like, I cannot be bothered. But every single time I come back and I do it and I think, that was a good use of time. I feel better now than when I left, and I'm glad that I did it. God, what is going on with my fringe today? And I'm glad, let's just ignore it. And I'm glad that I did it. And so this has been me, really. I've been working out. I went to Haunt for a drink on Tuesday. I'm going out to Rudy's tomorrow for dinner, which is nice, with some old work colleagues. And next week, I have no plans this weekend, to be honest, none whatsoever. I might go for a hike. It feels like it's going to be nice weather. And then next week's the run up to Easter. And I can't believe we're at Easter already. I have a big chunk of annual leave coming and I have no plans for it, which is kind of making me feel a bit like, whew. No, Easter's in 2 weeks' time. Yeah, I'm meant to be going away. I haven't booked it yet. That's making me feel a little bit stressed, but not stressed because it's a nice thing, but also I just want to make sure I do something in that week, because otherwise why have I taken a week of annual leave if I don't do anything? That is very silly. That's very silly. And so if you have any fun, I'm thinking maybe Prague. I'm thinking that could be a lovely little 4-night getaway. But enough of me updating you on my week. Let's get on to the topic of this week's podcast episode, which is, I think you're too hard on yourself, and I think I'm too hard on myself, and I think we're too hard on ourselves, and I think it's not that fun. I think, right, when I was editing last week's podcast yesterday, I was at that one part of it. I said, I'm training for the half marathon. I want to be a successful podcaster, and I'm creating all of the content, and I'm building an online community, and I'm also working. I want to have a social life, and I want to be able to see my boyfriend, and I want to stay in touch with my family, and I also want to build this app, and I want to blah, 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 blah. And there's all of these things that I was doing, and I was listening to myself say, like, these are all the things that I'm doing, and I just thought, why do I not think I'm doing enough? That's a crazy list of things to be trying to complete. Why do I not think I'm doing enough? What is it that makes me not feel like I'm doing enough? And it made me realise how hard we are all on ourselves to almost have this unbelievable level of productivity. This level of productivity that isn't sustainable, that isn't something that's healthy, that isn't something, I often get hit with this feeling of if I relax, then that is bad. I shouldn't have time to relax. I should be constantly filling my time. And recently, I'll be honest, guys, I have been constantly filling my time. It's not been, but in a way that's like positive, but also feeling not good enough when I'm filling my time with the things that I'm doing is making me, it's just like this vicious cycle. Like, I do too much and I don't feel like I'm good at the things that I'm doing, and then I overthink it, and then I'm not very happy doing the things that I'm doing because I don't think I'm very good at them. But then I feel tired because I'm doing things all of the time, and then I don't feel like I'm doing enough because I have moments to rest. And it just made me think I am my own harshest critic. And it sometimes feels like I'm running this race to try and get to where I want to get to, and I keep realising I'm never going to hit that finishing line. Because, I've hit goals and I've hit milestones that don't feel like anything anymore, like the things I'm proud of, but they're not like I'm going for bigger things now, better things that I think are more impressive, things that I want to try harder for. The bar is always lifting, and I'm just so hard on myself, and I think you're hard on yourself too. I think we both are. We want to push ourselves, and we have these big goals and these big achievements that we want to have in our life, and we think we have to put every single thing on a line to do them, and then we berate ourselves when we're not able to do absolutely every single thing perfectly. And I think this is where social media has come in, because it's allowing us to compare our lives against everyone else's and compare our levels of productivity with everyone else's. But we don't only compare it with like one person. When you scroll through Reels, you're comparing your life to, the 20 different people you saw in the content you just scrolled. It's not one life. It's not a window into people's life. It's, a mirror. We're not using it to think, oh, that's what they spend their time. We're using it, I'm using it to look at their life and think, God, I should be doing so much more. I should be doing so much more. If I see anyone studying a language, I think, that should be me. I need to be doing that. And if I see people seeing their family, I'm like, I haven't seen my family in so long. I need to be prioritizing seeing them. And I see someone who's just an entrepreneur and built this business, and I'm like, that is what I should be doing too. I need to be having a business. And rather than it just being this like exciting avenues and like windows into people's lives, I feel like I'm spinning plates, okay? I'm spinning plates and I keep adding a new plate in, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's build an app. That'll be a fun extra thing. And I'm building more and I'm building more and I'm building more. But it's not this like fun, creative want to build. Sometimes it feels like this pressure of, Bella, you have this free time and you have this life that you want to live, and you've got to make the most of it. And making the most of it means doing things every single minute of every single day and being busy. And like hustle culture, you've got to really grind. You're on your grind era. You've just got to go for things. You've got to keep working. And I think a lot of this is a mindset shift. 2 podcasts ago, we talked about the importance of language and perspective, and how this can shift the environment and the situation that you're in, and how it can shift the understanding of the environment that you're in. And I think a lot of this hustle culture, grind culture, for me personally, I don't think it's that good, because I know I'm a hard worker. I actually know I'm too hard of a worker sometimes. I'll put everything on the line for something. If I want something, I'm going to do it no matter what. I will work myself to the bone. And that's not always a good thing. I don't know when to stop. I've heard a lot that don't let perfect be the enemy of good enough, because often good enough will get you over the line. And it's that final 20% that ends up taking the most amount of time, and that is the time sink. And I think that's where I work myself too much, because everything has to be perfect and the standard has to be really high. That's not actually sustainable or something that's that good. Because if you're focusing so much on everything being perfect, then you're not allowing yourself, and you're not allowing your brain to think that this is just like a fun thing. It's a stressful thing. And this is where the language around hustle culture and being on your grind era and working hard, I think matters. Because the thing is, all of these things that we are doing right now are fun things. They are fun things. All these things I get to do in my life are fun things. And for some reason, I'm making my need to be like super hyper productive a negative thing. I'm turning it into a thing that feels high pressure and high stakes. And I'm turning it into a thing where I don't feel like I'm doing good enough, and a thing where I can judge myself for it, instead of something that's exciting, instead of something that is really great and like an opportunity, and something I should be allowing myself and like feeling grateful for the opportunity to do. And I kind of hadn't realised this, because I do just think we're all way too hard on ourselves. We have such high expectations of ourselves, and although that is a positive thing, you want to achieve good things, you want to achieve big things, sometimes I think we forget to see ourselves as human. We look at ourselves like we're these robots, able to constantly achieve different things and able to produce the same output every single day, and able to constantly go like a factory. But we forget that we are humans with emotions, and we react to the environment that we're in, and we react to the situation that we're in, which means we react when things go wrong, when things go right, which means we are not constantly able to produce the same output, which means our productivity is different on different days. So we're not able to produce the same output every single time. And I think a big part of my thoughts on this come from, if you look at your life and you look at the little parts of your life, the little things that you do every single day, they are things that younger you would think are so great. They would love the big things, but I think younger me would really love the little things. The fact that living in my flat with my boyfriend doesn't feel that little, but the fact I cook my own dinner every single night and I get to decide what I have, and the ownership and responsibility I have over my life, and the way I created all of these are things to celebrate and feel proud of too. And I think this need to be constantly productive and achieve these massive things, and this grind culture, this hustle culture, is making us overlook the achievements that we currently have. It's making us not recognise how far we've come, and it's making us not, sing our own praises and be really proud of ourselves. And it's impacting the mindset that we go into this hyper productivity arena with, because that arena of hyper productivity and constantly achieving and going, yeah, I don't know how good it is. Because that need to constantly be on, that need to constantly push yourself, that need to constantly, it's a lot. It is a lot to push yourself through that, and it's a lot of pressure to put on yourself, because you're not a factory, you are human, you are not a robot. There's a lot of elements of your life that you don't think are worth celebrating, but they're the tiny things that actually are pretty great. Are actually really cool, and I just wanted to remind you of that. I want to remind you that I just think you're too hard on yourself. I want you to celebrate the little things, be proud of how far you've come, and realise that you are doing enough, that you're trying all that you can try, and it's all right that your productivity is different on different days, because you are not a robot, you are a human being. And for some reason, even though it's the most obvious thing in the world, we all forget that. But thank you for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and on TikTok at Mel from Bella. And if you didn't realise already, I have now started an advice column where I will be sharing responses to your questions that you've written in to dearbellaadvice@gmail.com. If you want to send me your story to be featured on the blog, please send your email there or click the link in my Instagram bio and it'll take you to where you can send an email from. I love you. Thank you for listening and I can't wait to catch up with you next week. Bye. Mwah.